Okay, so this is our fourth processing tutorial. We're going to continue using the processing programming language in the Android Processing IDE, and this time we're going to focus on text, writing and drawing text using the processing programming language. So to get started, let's go ahead and open our Android Processing IDE and get back to the code we had been working on. Again, if it doesn't show up automatically, just go up to that menu, click on Sketch, and it should be right there. So far in our previous tutorials, we've really went over quite a few things in the processing programming language, although most of them had to do with drawing. This is the first time we're actually going to do text. So previously we drew shapes, and then recently drew colors, added different colors to that. So now we're going to do text. And remember, I didn't mention in the previous tutorial, but keep in mind that if you need assistance with any of the syntax or knowing which parameters any of these functions take, or if there's something maybe that you have in mind that I didn't implement here in the sample code, please go back to the processing.org link. And remember, they had those links for the examples, the tutorials, as well as the references. Those links are available in the tutorial outline in the Google Drive link that you were sent. And also just a fast Google search for the processing programming language will take you right to all those resources, which may help you with building your text or any of the previous tutorials that we've worked on. So let's go ahead and go back over to that Google Drive and grab the code for this fourth tutorial. Now we're still in week 2, and again, like I said, this is the fourth tutorial, so we're going to grab that sample code and download it. And once we open it, it will open up in our text editor. And we're just going to scroll right on down and grab the code, the new code that we're using here for tutorial 4. And one thing also that I wanted to mention that I don't think I mentioned in the previous tutorial, as we're highlighting and grabbing our code from this text editor, hopefully you keep along with the text that I'm grabbing out and adding to our code that we're building in the IDE. But you notice that I don't grab that very bottom parenthesis. That parenthesis is what is defining our draw function. So you'll notice when we take this code and go back to our Android Processing IDE, we have that bottom parenthesis there. So we don't want to double copy it, because that will give us an error when we go to run the code. So now we have our tutorial 4 code here. It's not very much, but just a few things that I want to talk about and go over so that you can get the understanding of how you write text with processing. So in order to write text with processing, the very first thing we need to do is to declare a font object. So you'll need to declare it with the PFont. And then this is just a variable, so you can really name it whatever you like. I just happen to name mine font because it makes sense. So you do need to declare a font object to be able to access the function and the functionality that's available through font. So after declaring our font object, we're going to create a font. And the first parameter will be the actual font. So, when you go into Word and you select a font, or really any word processing application, you have different types of fonts you can choose from. I chose Georgia. Arial is a popular one as well. The second parameter is going to be the size. And the third parameter we'll always set to true. So you can play around with the size, and later on we will also change the size. Now that we created our font, we have to set the text to use that font. So this way, anytime we use the text function, if we set this font that we created as a parameter for text font, then anytime we write text, we will use this setup that we created in our create font. Then I also, from the previous tutorial, we spoke about color. So I just set the stroke as well as the fill of the text to black. So feel free to play around with those different colors and write text in different colors, which we will do after initially writing in black as well. As I mentioned before in the previous tutorial, we now need to define any color that we're going to use when drawing anything. So that includes text. Now, the function text takes 3 parameters. The first parameter is a string, and so this is the text that will be written to the string, written to the screen. Notice that it's within double quotes. So this first parameter must always be within double quotes, and this is what you will see on your screen when we run the code. The second parameter is the X location. So again, as we were trying to kind of draw out and sketch on a piece of paper to have an understanding of the coordinates and where we want to lay out our different drawings or text, again, we need to see where we want to position this. And so this is our X position, which you'll see I am going to position pretty much in the center of the box that we created. And the last parameter is the Y location. So how far down on the screen is this going to be located? So we're going to draw that text, Melissa's profile, and when you all set this up, we want you to put your name here. So go ahead and change this. You know, if at nothing else, you don't change anything else in the sample code, I hope you're not all Melissa. So change your name so that this will be your profile. Then the next line, we can, remember up here, we set our text font to the font we created. Well, we can do that again and change the size. So where I had Melissa's profile at a size of 48, now I can write other things and change the size to a smaller size. So I'm not committed to that size 48. So I'm still going to use Georgia and have everything the same because I'm still using the font that I created, but I want to use a size of 24. So when you use this function text font, you can use it with one parameter, just setting the initial font you created, or with 2 parameters, using the font you created as well as a resize. So then again, I just write some text, and I just chose to write my favorite subject. Feel free to write your favorite subject there as well if you choose. And again, the next parameter, you know, again, I have those enclosed within the double quotes because that is how the parameter is for the text function. And then the next parameter is the X coordinate where I want that to be located, and then the Y coordinate where I want that to be located. So you notice I have my X coordinates in the same position for both of these. So I want them pretty much to be centered. But obviously I don't want them to be written on top of each other. So I'll position this one a little bit farther down on the screen from where I originally wrote Melissa's profile. So then just one more thing with the text that I want to show you all is, like I mentioned, we can change the color. So using the fill function, as we did in the previous tutorial, fill takes 3 parameters, a red value, a green value, and a blue value. So here we set the red value to 255, the green value to 0, and the blue value to 255. And again, you can use the color picker I showed you in the last tutorial to choose a color that you would like to write your text with or fill your text with. And so I just wrote on here that I created this profile to show you all how to write code with processing, and again within the double quotes as required by the text parameters. and then followed by the X coordinate where I would like this positioned, which I wanted to start about 80 units over from where my box frame starts at. And I'm sure these coordinates will begin to make sense and you'll remember the things we drew in the previous tutorials once we run this code. And again, I want this a little bit farther down on the screen than the previous text that I wrote. So my Y position will be 150 units lower. Now, for you all, I would like you all to write in your text parameter here, within your double quotes, where I wrote, I created this profile to show you all how to write code with processing. I would like you all to write why you're interested in STEM. What has you interested in STEM? STEM being science, technology, engineering, and math. So it can be as long as you'd like or as short as you'd like, but have fun with it, or maybe write a couple of lines in one color and write a couple of lines in another color. But we would really like to see you write something about why you're interested in STEM. So let's go ahead and run this code, pushing that play button at the top as usual, and install. And then again, we'll do open like always. And as you can see, so everything's the same that we had previously drawn, but now we have Melissa's profile at the top in that larger text, the 48, and then below that, the favorite subject in the 24 size. And even below that, the sentence that I wrote, which you all will change to why you're interested in STEM, in the 24 size, but in another color. So I hope you all will play around with the text and create your own personal profile using the processing programming language.